Let's get more insight into the developments in Ukraine and Russian war. We're speaking with global affairs analyst Colin Nweke, who is joining me from Belgium. Thank you so much for joining us on World Now. Meeting among the 27 national leaders of the European Union ended in the early hours of Friday with the European Union, with the Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković saying that, in a sympathetic way, that nobody entered the European Union overnight. And this is something that was also echoed by some of the leaders in the European Union. Does it look to you like the EU, the West, are now abandoning the Ukraine as it is?
Certainly not, Ibrahim. Of course, there have been some pundits who actually saw it from along those lines. But I do believe that a deeper analysis is required to be able to actually place the situation. Yes, indeed, it is correct that nobody entered the European Union overnight. Now, there are quite a number of issues to consider: the shape of the economy, the situation of human rights, and long-term projections of how the economy is performing. These are things that you actually do dispassionately. Entering the European Union is not a decision to be taken out of emotions. Okay, now the European Union has not faced this sort of situation before. I mean, post the Second World War, this is actually the first time that a major European country, is being attacked in the manner that Russia is attacking Ukraine. And so the question is open as to whether this is the right moment to consider the speedy ascension of Ukraine into the European Union. Some are saying, no, we need to apply all the rules. Others are saying that, Ukraine require their protection, and one of the ways they see as offering that protection is by admitting them into the European Union. But ultimately, Ibrahim, the European Union is a democracy, and they have this culture of debating, agreeing, disagreeing, and ultimately there will be a decision on this. Right. So it is going to be a bit of wait and see.
Mr. Nweke, help us unpack what the French President Emmanuel Macron, what he said. It says, and I quote, "Can we open a membership procedure with a country at war? I don't think so. Can we shut the door and say never? It would be unfair. Can we forget about the balance points in that region? Let's be cautious." What's he trying to say here?
What he's trying to actually promote is dialogue. Emmanuel Macron is not saying no, never. He has said that in his own words. So, of course, a deeper interpretation of his position would mean that he is not quite open to the idea of admitting them immediately. But you see, when you hear it from expansionists like Emmanuel Macron, you have reasons for optimism, because he is one that has never been against expanding the European Union. Now, when you hear it from the likes of Mark Rutte of the Netherlands, who is resolutely against speedy expansion of the European Union, then you have reasons to worry that ultimately what he wants is certainly not expanding, not admitting Ukraine, but quoted in very fine and diplomatic words. So yes, Macron is somewhere neutral, somewhere in the middle of the conversation, but encouraging more dialogue.
Well, it appears to me like the West is somewhat tiptoeing around the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. They've actually slammed sanctions, different sanctions. Some companies are already pulling out of Russia, ceasing to render services to the Russian economy. But all the same, except for the fact that China is that country who says that they support to resolve Ukraine crisis by peaceful means, does it appear that the West, based on the utterances of Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying that the West should be careful so that they won't be seen as part of the war. Is the West afraid of Russia to some extent so that they will not be dragged into this war?
I do not have sufficient reasons to believe that the Western Alliance, and that includes the United States of America, is afraid of Russia. No, I think what it does appear to be is that they are taking lessons from history. They are taking lessons from, the wars, the unholy wars, so to speak, that have actually taken place in the past. They have probably been able to analyze why those wars escalated in the manner that they did and ended, in very, very bad manner. So, quite apart from the provocations that actually led to these, provocative actions on the part of the Western Alliance, I believe that they are very, very cautious not to, act in ways that will escalate the war, the crisis. Now, in doing so, they have chosen the path of soft diplomacy combined with sanctions, and these sanctions phased out in such a manner that the best bullet is fired at the end of the battle. So essentially that's what they are doing, and I don't think it could be interpreted as the Western Alliance being afraid of Russia, but rather handling it in a matured diplomatic way so that it doesn't escalate beyond expectation.
Well, I seem to also want to agree with you, but saying it doesn't escalate beyond expectation is actually relative, because more than 2.5 million people have actually fled Ukraine. But all the same, we continue to monitor this as it continues to unfold. Global Affairs analyst Colin Nweke joining us from Belgium. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you very much for having me.